1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Life Podcast, your go-to podcast for all things entrepreneurship, accounting, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Katey Maddux, and today I have with me Bethany Martinez. Bethany helps clients get out of the unknown and into their dream home. That has always been her guiding principle. A full-time real estate professional since 2012, she was also the president for 2021 of Miami YPN and is currently serving on the residential board of the Miami Association of Realtors. Outside of real estate, she is the founder of Females for Profit, a unique organization that curates one-of-a-kind event for entrepreneurial women, educating them on turning their passions into profits through strategic collaboration. What a mouthful.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I should have cut that shorter for you. Hearing you say it, I'm like, okay, we could have made that shorter.
No, it's perfect. Why don't you tell everybody who you are?
All right, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I've been seeing you host these podcasts, and I was like waiting for the day for you to ask me. I was just like, when is she going to ask me? I want to do it. So like you said, I'm in real estate. I've been in real estate for the last 10 years, licensed for 12. It wasn't something that I ever wanted to be in. I never thought I was going to be a realtor. I was actually in hospitality management prior. Mm-hmm. I really love that. And then there was just this 1 year where all signs just kept pointing. I truly feel like God told me to do real estate. Like he led me to do real estate because it's not something that I wanted. Then got my license. And then, I could just go on and with the journey, but I'm doing that now. I'm running a team. I have a few agents under me, let's say like 5 agents. That's been a real big journey. And now I'm in a leadership position, also selling still, mentoring, and then doing all the other things that I love, like Females for Profit related stuff, which is like events, women related things, workshops. That's something I've always been passionate about. And that came from like my background in hospitality. Mm-hmm. I used to produce large events. So it's nice to like look at my life now at a whole and say, all right, I made money and now I'm able to do those things that like I'm tying my past back into my future and I'm doing the things that I'm good at and I'm using my creative skill sets and I'm doing real estate and doing the things that I love. So that's where we're at now.
I love it. I feel like you're like the mayor of Miami.
What's so funny? A few of my friends said that I should become like
run for mayor. Yeah.
I was just in Tallahassee for GARD, which is Greater American Realtor Days, and we go there to meet the state representatives for like certain districts. And so I'm a key contact for my state rep, which is like the area that I already farm for real estate. So it's really cool to see that. I think that would be the next step, like becoming a state rep and just getting involved in the political side. It's very interesting to me. And I was saying to my friend the other day, I'm like, I feel like I would be interested in that route, like, exploring that, but, we'll see.
I could totally see it. The governmental mantle all over you.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I have a crazy past or anything that they can dig up, right?
What could they dig up? I feel
like that's what everybody like fears, like a background check. I think I'm pretty safe.
I mean, Facebook came out in what year? I think you're fine.
Oh yeah. Let's not go back to MySpace days because like those are the crazy days. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so yeah, I feel like that's like where real estate for me is dabbling into now, just like working on like dealing with state reps and kind of digging deeper to how I can help the constituents or be a part of that.
The constituents.
That's what they call us.
Yeah.
We're constituents. They represent us on a state level for things like insurance and home ownership and property rights. So it's really important. We don't even realize like what's happening,
Yeah. And you also are a serial entrepreneur. Like you have so many businesses. What are kind of like, how did you get there? What was the first one? How did it lead into having multiple? Like, tell us about that.
Well, I can say that from like 5 years old or 6 or 7 in my neighborhood, I was always the girl on the block that would get all the friends together, and then I would host these little board meetings. And I remember it all started like with my group of girlfriends. We wanted to start like a babysitters club and do like lemonade sales, and we had the treasurers and the presidents, and we had a little box where we would keep money, and we would just meet about, I don't even know what, because honestly we were so young.
Yeah.
But when I think even back to then, I was doing what I'm doing now.
Wow.
Bringing people together for a purpose and looking at what they're good at and putting them in those positions and making a group out of it. Mm-hmm. So, when I started real estate, real estate's not the industry that you can just like do it part-time. Right. Like in the beginning, I had 5 jobs. I was still working in hospitality. I was, putting events together. And I remember someone telling me like, I didn't work with you because I didn't know if you did real estate full time. And that hit me like a ton of bricks because I was like, oh, what am I projecting out there? Like, what is everybody seeing? That I'm just this girl that does so many different things. That's not a good look when you're trying to build a business, you know? So I remember just buckled down. I said, now when I show the world anything that has to do with me, it's going to be real estate related. I'm not going to talk about all these other jobs. Even if I have them, I'm going to really be streamlined. And I did that. And I did that for 6 years. And I just focused on real estate. But being the person that I am, it's like really just doing sales wasn't enough. So I got involved with the association. I got on the board and I started realizing like, oh, I like all these different things, these different components, all which just bringing people together, being in community with people, right? Mm-hmm. And then later, after I had some success in real estate, I decided to create Females for Profit because I had this like desire in my heart to bring women together who liked to make money, who were all about business building. Because I felt like back then it was a lot of male dominated things, right? So then I was like, all right, Females for Profit, meaning females who like to make money and who want to make a lot of it and who aren't they're unapologetic with it. We need to get together and talk about how we can help each other make more money. Yeah. So I did my events. My events were kind of geared towards that, business building, brand building, protections, LLCs, like how to do that stuff. But the tagline is really helping you turn your passions into profit, right? I am passionate about these creative, fun things, but that wasn't generating money. I needed to make the money somewhere to pour into that. So like it was my side hustle for a while. And I started realizing like, that's a lot of us. Those that are capable, that have the creativity to build businesses, we don't want to be stuck in a box to just do one thing. I mean, you're an accountant and you decided you wanted to do a podcast and you wanted to talk about things entrepreneur. You've built your business. Like it's the same for you. So I see that in you and I see that in a bunch of our other girlfriends that are making money. They have their job, but they can handle it and they want to do other things too. Yeah. Now, how do we make those other things make you money as well? Right? Oh,
I love that.
So it's a little bit of like where I'm at. Like real estate was the main thing. Now Females for Profit, like any structured business, Females for Profit just helps me organize my life. So like if I want to do a bunch of these women events, I'm not like mixing it up into my real estate stuff. Like I've got Bethany Realtor, completely separate, Females for Profit, and Females for Profit can collaborate with any women.
Huh? I said no commingling.
Commingling.
You're speaking my accounting language.
For sure. It's like no commingling on your brand, right? Because you don't want people to look, oh, you do this, you do this, you do this. Like you're gonna confuse your audience of what you actually do that generates the money. Females for Profit like feeds the soul and it could generate money like per event basis, but that was never the point. It was in the beginning. The beginning was to like release my creative juices while being able to do so many different things with other women that may not be real estate related.
Right. I think like what you're talking about too has been such a consistent thread in so many people that I've interviewed of like have the business that's the vehicle, it's the bread and butter. That business gets to fund all the passion businesses, right? Like you need your bread and butter business. And it might not be the most fun. But that's not the point, right? It's the one that makes the money.
It is.
And then when you have the money, then you can start all the passion project businesses. Yeah. And like you said, like if you're a go-getter woman, like who wants to just have one business? It's so boring.
I want multiple, I want to do what I want to do and I want it to be profitable, but you have to have structure. You have to be disciplined. So like knowing that you focused on that one business that got you to where you need to be, only then is when you can say, okay, now I want to dabble in other stuff. Like, how are you going to be dabbling in other stuff when your main business isn't even successful? Right. You're just getting distracted.
What would you say is something that, I mean, you've built quite a few successful businesses. What would you say, like, in terms of contracts or legal or things that it's like, you don't know what you don't know, where did you learn those things?
Well, I learned through trial and error for a lot of the stuff, but I always partnered up with people who were doing better than me. Like if I knew someone was doing what I wanted to do, but they were successfully executing it, I would jump in and be like, how can I partner with you? How can I help you? How can I be a part of what you're doing? How can I help grow what you're doing? Because also just by being associated with them, you're going to see, they're going to share, you're going to learn, you can pick up some things. So even in real estate, like if I wanted to do more, I partnered with someone that was doing more. And I learned, like, what are you doing for lead gen? What are you doing for strategies? You know, I became a member of the association and served on the board because that gave me more education. Like, I always got in a group that was doing better or that would teach me so that I could learn things. So I think in any, you know, starting off in any career, like mentorship, you know, obviously it's like not always the easiest to find people that are willing to pour into you, but there is people. You'll find them if you look.
Right.
So like finding someone that's doing what you're doing the way you want to do it and just learning from them. Then you can add your little tips and tricks along the way, but it's sometimes like we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like we can just take what someone's already built and say, how can I make that for me? Apply that for myself. And then in real estate too, like if you're a new agent looking to grow in the business, join a team, get under a mentor. Like that's the best way to do that. Like our friend Cindy is like crushing it, you know, she's on a team, and I was asking her questions about her journey. And I'm like, wow, no wonder you went so fast, so far. So like, because you had great leadership, you know? So, I mean, those are just like things that I did and that I see, like when people get under the right mentor, they go so much faster, you know, and they end up like any leader will soon end up leaving and building their own thing, but not everybody's here to stay, you know. But if we can keep building leaders up and passing them on to go do things with their life, I mean, that's what I do with everybody on my team.
Yeah. What would you say are some keys that you've learned in leading people? You know, for the people on your team, obviously, like when you're first hiring someone, I laugh because I'm like, man, I was a terrible boss for my first assistant a few years ago. And it's like every time I hire someone, it's like, okay, it gets a little bit better. It gets a little bit better. Now I kind of know what I'm doing. I still have no idea what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But like, are there any like tips and tricks or things that you've learned in terms of helping or managing or mentoring the people under you? Because you have quite a big team.
So I've always looked for a specific team type of person, you know, someone that has the work ethic, has the ability. It's just they need the guidance and they just need the how-tos. And, you know, at that point, it's like showing them how they can do it, like how you've done it and just replicating it. So like with my team, it was always like, assist me, do everything that I'm doing, and then you're going to get like firsthand experience. Because I feel like firsthand experiences is so important. Like being able to like tangibly work on things to learn them. That's how I am. So all of my team members were like once an assistant. And then once they graduated from that assistant role, then they became their own realtor. And that like fast tracked them to be a realtor. It's like, all right, you're going to work with me on all my deals. You're going to assist me, but by assisting me, you're going to learn, because without this, you wouldn't be working on any deals, you know? I use that method a lot, like when it comes to training. So it's like one at a time. And then just like business build, I'm not sure like what I think I forgot what the actual question was.
You're good.
But before I like go into something else, like remind me.
It was about just when you're working with a team and when you have people under you, any like tips and tricks for just managing people.
Well, I'll tell you this, my life game changer changed when I got an assistant. Like I was doing everything and like a virtual assistant at that. Like I had many in-person ones, but it's different. Like I just need someone that's at the computer all day long while I'm on the road. My life has changed, like business, money, you know, freedom, time, and creating systems within my business, which is like, you know, so important when you have VAs and things like that, was also something so important. So like really like documenting everything and having a manual for everything and knowing where everything is and making it very easy for someone else to come in there and find stuff. Like once I was able to do that for my business, it's really, I can plug and play. Like I can take this assistant out and put another assistant in, and there's a manual and there's videos and there's training. And it's like, if you're ever like thinking of building or growing any time of a team, think about those tasks that you do every day that don't change. And just document them.
Loom them.
like literally loom them, right? And then that way you yourself don't have to repeat yourself every time the same things to someone new.
Right.
So like creating systems in my business was like, oh my gosh, just like a game changer. Like I can't even, like there's days I don't even have to be at the computer, you know, because I'm like,
the life,
you know. I mean, I need to be out in the streets selling. So like I can't be like, I remember when I used to bring my computer and be on the car driving, like filling out contracts, like, oh, the days. No.
the days.
Yeah. Systems, mentorship. What else? What else do you think?
I think playbooks are everything, like manuals, like what you said, you know, having SOPs, and then just like also what you said about like having somebody come under you and just shadow you.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more valuable than shadowing someone. So like you said, if there's somebody that you're like, they're doing this well, ask them if you can shadow them for a day, you know, buy them lunch, like give them something of value.
Yeah. I have agents call me all the time like, hey, like, can you mentor me? Like, can you know,
add value to people?
Yeah. And I would always add for anything event related. Like if I saw someone, like I wanted to partner with them and do a cool event or something, I'm like, listen, I know how to bring the people. So like you want, like, let's partner in this event because what I'm good is bringing people together and you're good at all the other things. So let's team up and let's do it. And that's how it always works. And it's great. I just find what I'm good at and I offer that to people because everybody has their zone of genius.
Right.
So like, it's not everybody can do everything. And so like, you just got to figure out where you can insert yourself into someone's life and say, I can add value there. Let me do that. And like, that's how all my partnerships are. And I have a lot. Like, it's crazy because, like, I've this with this girl and this with this girl. And, like, and I just, like, we all fit each other. We're like a little puzzle, you know?
Right. I even think back to, like, when we were in Dubai last month and just, like, meeting Rita. Shout out to Rita. We love you.
Yeah.
But just, like, how you're even
taking
us and introducing them to your real estate friends in Dubai, and just like you're such a good connector of people and being willing to not just like hoard the secrets but to connect people and be like, hey, you know, I think it'd be great for you guys to be connected, and like you can add value to people that way just by introducing them.
I'm a big believer, like there's so many relationships that have formed and businesses that have formed because I've introduced people just because, you know, my main thing in life, it's like meeting someone and identifying enough about them in that first meeting to see where they fit in my life or someone else that I know. And it's like, I guess it comes from like being a part of so many like BNI organizations and this and that, just being a networker and a good communicator, that like there's no one that I meet that I can't find a place for them, you know? And it's like even down to how I save people in my contacts. Like I'm like name, number, email. And then in the notes, it's really strategic how I place people, whether they're going to be a client or a partner or fill this bucket or that bucket. And then that way, like when I want to create an email list, all I have to do is type in a filter. And it's like all the people that I ever met here in this world, we're going to go to, you know, It's like my database is like mental, but it's also actual. I can pull anybody from any occasion and say, I have someone for you. Let me just like, I have an accountant that does specifically this. I probably have it in my contacts, you know?
Yeah.
And I've like take pride in getting to know people, but it's asking questions and not just like, oh, you know, like, what do you like to do for fun? Like, it's really just being like, asking a simple form of questions where you can dive really deep. And I think it's like a gift and a curse because like I do it with guys that I go on dates with. So like a lot of the times I already know that they're not the one. Like midway through, they're loving the conversation.
Because it's all about them.
Yeah. Because like they'll do all the talking and they won't even realize it, you know? By the end of the conversation, I know everything that I could possibly gather about them. And they probably know nothing about me because they didn't ask. You know, and you don't realize like when you take charge of a conversation, how like some people just don't even think to ask you certain questions, you know?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm also a question asker. And
I'm
I've
very inquisitive.
Literally after a date when a guy was like, can I take you out again? And I've literally called them out and been like, no, why not? I'd say, where did I grow up? How many siblings do I have? What's my dog's name? I don't have a dog. Like, I've literally done this. People are probably like, that's why you're single. Because I'm like, it's like, I'm helping you because you know nothing about me. I can tell you everything about yourself. And the next time you go on a date with a girl, why don't you try to spend some time getting to know her so that at the end of the day, it's not just, oh, I thought that you were good looking and ask a lot of questions, but actually like are interested in getting to know them. And he's like, you're so right. Like, can we do this again? And I was like, no.
No. But it's like, because I almost feel like just because the date didn't work out, if I know other things about them, like I can still fit them into another box of life, which is like client, maybe friends, or maybe you need a referral or something and something. So that's like literally how I treat my relationships in my life. They're like a database. And I want to be able to do stuff for them, but I need to know them to know what I can do for them. And I want to be able to connect them with the right person at some point. Or how can we do things together and me be of like a benefit to you? You know, you got to know what I do and I got to know what you do, right? So it's like the life database. It's just knowing that. I feel like if you really like built that at a young age, like you don't realize like your database, no matter what business you want to build, those are the people that are going to be your buying into your business or helping you grow it.
Right. Did you ever sell Cutco?
No. God, no. But I did go for the interview, and I did like go to that like meeting that they have to like get you hyped up. But I just couldn't do it. Like I just wasn't a Cutco girl.
Yeah,
like,
I was absolutely a Cutco girl.
Did
and
you
the
like
reason
get the top rankings?
Of course I did.
Of course you did. Oh my God.
Top in my state. Thank you very much. But the reason I bring it up is because that was a concept that they taught us, and I learned it at 17, right?
You could do anything if you can sell Cutco.
Right. Like they drilled it into you, like, who do you know? You're like, 10 people. No. Make a list of 200 people that you know. That's the first thing they ask you. Make a list of 200 people that you know. And as a 17, 18-year-old, you're like, I only know other 17 and 18-year-olds. And they're like, no, you don't. You know your parents' friends. They'd be like, what are your extracurriculars? I'm a dancer. Okay.
They like
so
want you to think
all the people in your
box.
dance, right. All the people in your dance studio have parents. There's dance teachers at the dance studio. There's cleaning people at the dance studio. And they would force you, like after you got to 200, they'd be like, okay, now make a list of 1,000.
Yeah.
And it forced you to think in a way that it's like, who are all the people I'm connected to? You know, and even if you weren't successful in the business, or even if you didn't end up sticking with the company, what it taught you is I'm actually connected to so many people, and I actually have this like these circles, right? Like here's my intimate circle. These are my acquaintance circle.
You have access.
Here's the circle of my intimate circle. Like I could call this person because they're friends with this person. And the way that it taught me to network at 18 years old, 17 years old, has served me so many times.
Look at that.
You know, and it's...
Look at that. You see, that's like... Yeah. Those jobs build you.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Being able to knock on doors for business is like... I would love my kid to just try that. I don't have a kid, but I'm going to make him knock on doors at some point. I'm like, you're going to have the world, but I'm going to make
But you're going to have to hustle for it.
For strategic things that are going to build your character.
Character is everything.
Cold calling and knocking on doors.
And going to hype meetings.
Yeah.
5 nights a week.
That's like that community. Like that energy.
They're brilliant.
The what is it brilliant. Called? Like the company, the culture.
The camaraderie.
Culture.
Yeah. Company culture.
You know, being around that culture and that energy where it's like we strive for greatness. Like, how are you not going to succeed when you're showing up every day and everybody's just like pumping you up?
And when you're a teenager,
you're
not motivated to really do anything, right? Except like be good at sports or be good at like whatever your hobby is.
When you get a little taste of success, you want more.
Exactly.
Especially if you're an entrepreneur boss.
Exactly. And I used to tell my parents I will never own a business because my mom worked crazy hours my whole life. And she had an office in our house. And so she would work until 11 o'clock at night every night. And that was because she just loved it. She loves her business.
What'd she do?
She owns an accounting firm.
Oh my God. You got it from your mama? Oh my God.
I'm such a clone. And I told her, I was like, I hate accounting because I worked in her accounting business when I was in high school. Gosh. And my first job was with our family CPA. And I told her, I was like, I hate accounting and I don't want to have a business because you work too much. And
Look what you do.
I know.
But you work smarter. Like we've like elevated. There's so many tools and things that are available to us now, and support that like, you know.
And just made it broad, right? Like she was very much like, I work with people that I know in my local area, you know, on a desktop software, where I'm like, I work with people in other countries and I only do cloud-based software. And so my niche doesn't have to be Miami specific. And you know what I mean? Like taking what was her glass ceiling and that was my floor. And I mean, that's the goal, right? Is to take, even for like the people you mentor, even for your team, like
absolutely,
it's not a competition with the people who work for you. Like make your ceiling, like that should be their floor. Your kids, once you have them.
Yeah, I'm like, you should get there way faster than I did because I'm giving you all the shortcuts.
Right.
Like you're starting where I'm at.
Right.
Essentially. So there should be no reason why you don't go past me.
Farther,
faster.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I'm definitely all about that. And it's like encouragement, mentorship, and kind of just being there to like cut, like it's literally the fast track, you know?
Absolutely. And I feel like you know so many people in Miami and you're so well connected. For people who are new maybe to a city, maybe they didn't grow up in a big city and they're like, hey, I want to build a business, but I literally don't know anyone. What would be kind of some tips for them in terms of like getting connected into a new city?
So definitely reaching out to people that you look like, that you follow and admire, that maybe you want to just connect with, just simply reaching out and finding out how you can get involved in whatever it is that they're doing. There's just so much to do. Like I can give you so many examples of stories of people that have relocated and have just like built this life. Like they just started showing up to events that they like. They started reaching out to people. Like they started just like working in areas. Like I know a guy that like wanted to connect with this one person who was a very wealthy person, so he got a job at the gym that the person worked at, and now he works with that person. Like it's just, you gotta just step out of your box. Like Miami's such an easy place to meet people. You just walk out your front door
literally,
and there's like 100 events going on. But I think it's like the mindset. It's like knowing today I'm gonna make a friend, knowing today I'm gonna make a strategic reach out to somebody that I want to connect with, like being friendly, being like looking up and not down at your phone when you're like out and about in rooms and in places, you know. But there's just like whatever niche you're in, I would say find some events or something that you can go to just to kind of meet some of those people, especially if you're relocating here. Go to church. I mean, like how many like new people end up at Boo and like, you know, making a whole new friend and a whole new community, right? Yeah. So like for me, like I like sports and how I wanted to get into tennis, and now I have this whole new community of tennis. So I go to random tennis meetups. I go to tennis clinics. I'm like, anything that I can do to meet more people in tennis, I do. I show up, I Google, I research, I want to be here, I'm going to join this league. And now I have like a whole opportunity of new people to meet. But yeah, I mean, the great way to meet if you're relocating is find a realtor. That's pretty cool. And then ask them. Because all my clients that are relocating, I'm the type of friend, the realtor that's like, all right, what do you like to do? Who can I introduce you to?
Let's get you in a club.
Yeah. So I'm not only going to find you a place, but I'm also going to make sure you're plugged in. And I invite everybody to church. Everybody, I'm like, these are the things you want to do, like to get to know good people. And I give them that like while I'm moving them in. You know, it's fun because it's like, I feel like I get to show them all the amazing reasons why I love South Florida and do all the things that I do. And like, if they're a woman, they definitely end up coming to most of my events.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, because I know you're really involved with the Miami Association of Realtors, with people who've like never, I think a lot of times as an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily think about joining an association. You know what I mean? That's very much, I feel like, a corporate mindset. Like, okay, I'm a CPA, so I should be in a CPA association. But as an entrepreneur, there's actually a ton of benefits to being in an association, be it in your niche or not in your niche, because I was even part of the Miami Association of Realtors.
Yeah, you taught.
And I'm not I'm not a realtor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would you say are like some benefits or even just reasons to get involved with an association? So or what has it done for you?
For a realtor, right? Like you have to have a license, and your license has to be hung with your local board, which is the Miami Association of Realtors. So anybody that has a license in Miami has to have their license hung with the board. They don't have to be a part of it. The board does events. They have like They do all kinds of things. It was an opportunity that someone presented me to get on like the YPN board. I had no idea what it was, but it was just a bunch of realtors like me. Some had been longer in the business, some brokers, all on this board, sharing, educating, and talking about how we can better the real estate community as a whole. So like what it's done for me, it's put me in the forefront of like everything that's happening with our real estate industry, knowledge, education on like a international level, you know, throughout the whole US. And so it's been great because it's like, it sets you apart. Like, not only am I selling real estate, but I really know what's going on within the community of real estate. And that's something that, like, an opportunity was presented. I just gave it a shot. I went to a meeting, I applied, I got on, but it ended up being this world of opportunity. And it's been so great for my business, for my referral business, because we travel to meetings all over and we're constantly connecting with the top agents in other markets. So that's what the board did for me. It helped me create like a community within real estate where I'm dealing with brokers, owners, agents all over the US, and we're all coming together to talk about how we can make real estate, the real estate industry, better for us as realtors and to protect buyers, homeowners, sellers, all those things. So it was like something that I just gave a try, that ended up being one of the best things that's ever happened to me within real estate. So like, I encourage, like, whatever you do as an entrepreneur, like, get involved in something, like, take a chance. Like, if, you know, maybe the first couple tries, it doesn't work out, but like, find something to get involved in that can just kind of catapult you. Like, it's like, you know, putting you out in a whole new world that you probably would have never done before if you didn't give it a shot. Right. So it's like, sometimes you just got to try things to see if they work. For me, once I understood the value of it, I'm like, oh, I'm always going to be involved. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to go from the residential board to the president to whatever, just keep climbing the ladder, because I felt like it was just so, it's my way of giving back, but it's also, I've received so much for it. Mm-hmm. So you can apply that same method to anything you do. Whatever business you're in, there's groups, there's associations, there's meetings, there's things that you can just sign up and see if it works for you. Like, these are all leadership positions, so a lot of them are volunteer based. So you're not forced to do anything. You really end up doing it because it's such a benefit to your business.
Mm-hmm. But even being volunteer based, it's benefiting you financially.
Yeah,
like
referral business.
Referrals.
You're getting your name out there. People trusting that you're a realtor that actually cares. You know, like, I'm doing so much that doesn't pay me, but I'm doing that to better my business and to be a better, have more information for my clients. So I feel like that sets you apart. Like, people know that you do that. They like want to work with you, you know?
Right. And it's given you so many opportunities to go abroad.
And
like,
travel.
Isn't that why you went to Dubai?
Yeah. Dubai, like, I fell in love with Dubai. We did a huge YPN Global Congress, and we partnered up with the IPS show, the International Property Show in Dubai. And it created this like amazing collaboration between Miami Association and Dubai. So every year we host this conference and we bring out all the realtors and we put together, you know, presentations from basically realtors in other markets all around the world, what they're selling and the different type of products that they're selling. And this past year, I've been working more on selling international product and traveling to countries and learning about their product and selling them to investors, because there's so many opportunities elsewhere. And so like, Dubai kind of started that all off, and you even got to come to Dubai.
Yeah.
And so our realtors, we go out there all the time, and I learned so much about the Dubai market, and I'm working on selling some product there. And that's like where Rita comes in, because Rita was someone that I met, and she works for Emaar, one of the largest developers in Dubai. So she's constantly giving me updates. So it's just fun when you realize like your job that you once did like here in Miami, you can actually do it everywhere. Like, you know, it just, to take your business global is like so exciting. Yeah. You know, but I'm only going to know about that when I get into those markets, when I research, when I connect with people out there, build those strategic collaborations again, and partnerships, and then getting that information to bring back to my clients to be able to sell.
Yeah. And I think that's so good too for entrepreneurs, because being an entrepreneur can be so lonely. Yeah. Right? Like, it can be so isolating, and you kind of feel siloed at the beginning, right? Because you're just doing everything yourself. You're not in a business, you're not in a corporate environment, you're not on a team. Yeah. And joining even an association gives you an opportunity to like be on a team, to collaborate.
It felt like a team. Yeah. I've always liked team aspects. Like, I've always liked community and doing things together. Like, real estate, doing it by myself, just with me, wouldn't be fun. Like, I would get very lonely and bored, but the fact that I can grow, partner with agents, partner with my friends, partner with my team members, have team members that we can bounce ideas off of each other, like that's always been my jam. You know, community and having a group of like trusted people that you can do things with.
Yeah, I totally love that.
So like, what else can we talk about?
I was just thinking, like, the word that I feel like I just keep is like popping up in my forehead is like why. Like, what's your why? Like, what's your purpose? What's your drive for all the things that you do? Like, some people think, you know, like you have a business to make money, and you do, but like I'm sure there are, but like what are the layers to that?
So my why has transitioned a few times, you know. In the beginning, my why was be an independent woman, you know, like always have my own money, like always be able to control my life, right? So me starting a business in real estate and doing all of that and just like helping other women and talking about females for profit was always like independent women, never rely on anybody, like let alone a man or whoever. And so then that's like how I operated, just work, build. But now like I'm like not trying to be an independent woman forever. Like those days are gone. Like I did it and it's great and I know how to make money and I always will. I'm always gonna make money. Like right. Once you know, you could fall to the bottom, but you know what you got to do to get to the top again, right? Yeah. But like now I want to like have a family and I want to support someone on their journey too. Like I've always realized the thing about me is like I love supporting people. And I love being a part of somebody's something, and I love helping people grow something. That's why I have Females for Profit, because it's like, how can I support other people? Mm-hmm. I don't really need them to support me, but yes, you can support me by giving me real estate deals, right? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that's such a good thing, because I don't need to be in the front. Like I don't need to be with all the light on me and like look at me and like have this business and all this stuff. Like I can do all that quietly, I can do that loud, whatever. But like the next journey of my life is like having a partner to build with, right? Something new, maybe build what we're already building, because I just love building things, you know? So, and then building a family and like helping and being always able to support my family and take care of them. That's why I work, you know? But like my selfish why is now like, what's next? Outside of like hustle and grind and work and build, which never changes and can go on endlessly. Right. There's never enough money, you know? Like you'll always need money for something else. Right. So it's like, now I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, I want to build with someone. I want a partner and I want to like grow something new. So I'm in a new journey of like, I am such a great support system. Like I know that about myself. So like, I want to put that value and that like those efforts to work in the form of like a marriage, you know, and like building a family and still working. Cause I can do all that and work. We can do anything we want. Right. We can have multiple businesses. We can have a family. We can live, you know, we can volunteer. So like my why was just like be independent and never rely on anybody, not a man. Now I'm like, okay, well, like can be lonely. Like who's trying to do this forever? You know, like be feminine and soft and let someone like come and take care of me sometimes. You know?
I do.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But again, like as you develop as a woman and the more you grow, the more you do for yourself, the less bullshit you're trying to tolerate. Right. So like the road can come off. Yeah, the road can come off lonely because you're just not settling for the half-ass shit that's out there. Right. So like you're just like staying in your lane. I'll continue to work. I'll continue to do me. I'll continue to grow. But like unless you've got some real value to add and you know you're not out there messing around, like then we don't have time for you. So it's like next, you know. So it's back to being independent and working
for now.
For now.
It's a season.
It is, but it's still fun because I feel like I was talking to my girlfriend the other day and I'm like, man, I'm really thankful for my life. You know, challenges and all, but like I've like figured out how to make shit work for me. Yeah. And I figured out how to like fall and get back up.
Yeah.
You know, and God has blessed me with like, you know, just everything that he wants me to do. And he's put me on this path. And I feel like every day my prayer is like, okay, what do you want me to do now? You know? And so like, just as a whole, like being able to have friends and we're all in that position and we're all like, you know, like crushing it in our own way and go-getters and like seeing God's hand on our life and him really blessing us. Like, I'm really thankful for where I'm at. I don't have anything that like I get, you know what I mean? Like when I ask for something, I can go get it myself, or I ask God to give it to me. He usually ends up blessing you in the right time and moment. But yeah, so it's like being an entrepreneur, getting into real estate really taught me how to be like a woman and like a human and like really value money and understand how like, you know, there's certain things that you learn from entrepreneurship that you'll never learn when you always work for somebody.
Oh my gosh, so many things.
You know, so I feel so grateful to have like been able to break out of that and become this businesswoman entrepreneur, because it really sets you up for like life. Like you know, like there'll be good and bad times. You just know how to like balance yourself when they come. You know,
I think one thing you learn as an entrepreneur that is so valuable is like how to bounce back, right? Like when you're working as a W-2 employee, when you're working for somebody else, you're always relying on your security is always in somebody else. You're always relying on that company. Are they going to do layoffs? Are they going to raise my salary? Are they going to? And when you're an entrepreneur, like it's all on you.
It's like, I need to raise my salary.
Yeah, I need to go get more business. Like, I think I'm going to raise my salary.
What do I need to do today to go get that check?
Yeah.
It is.
You learn how to
navigate all these.
Yeah. And so I think so many lessons that you learn can then be applied to your family. Like I think that I'm going to be such a better mom now that I've been an entrepreneur, because I've had to learn how to lead people and how to manage a team and how to manage people who are super feelers, right? They're very sensitive.
Yeah.
And I've even noticed on my own team, like I'm not a feeler, so I don't pick up other people's emotions. People be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you know, I shared that with you. I hope you don't take that on." I'm like, I don't take that on at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I know I've had people on my team where it's like if I'm frustrated, they're frustrated. Like they take that on. Or if I'm angry, now they're angry too. And I'm like, okay, I need to be very aware of my emotions.
Yeah.
Because the other people on my team are taking that on.
Yeah.
It just makes me think like how kids are. Right? They absorb what you put out. And just even being an entrepreneur, I've had to learn how to be aware of what I'm putting out more than I ever had to with like friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And, or like being able to communicate properly, or not getting irritated when people ask questions because they're stupid. Asking to learn. Yeah. I have a bad habit of like being very distracted. So if I'm not like zoned in on what we're talking about, if I'm on my phone, I'm not listening to you. And I'm like, what? Repeat that? So I've had to learn to like, all right, be present. We're going to tackle these tasks. We're going to get through this. We're going to ask the questions. Then after that, we're done. Okay, go.
Right.
You know, because I can be in a million places in my head and you're talking to me and I'm like, nothing went through. But like, that's like with my team, I'm like, you have like specific meetings. I'm like, all right, ask me everything you want to ask me right now. Because it's like,
this is my present moment for you. You have my full attention.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, I could be, there's times they're like asking, I'm like, did you not just ask me that? But I'm like, what? No, calm down. Like,
relax.
Don't get irritated.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
But you learn so much about yourself, you know? And it's really cool. Like everything that I've learned is going to serve my family, like you said. And I'm here to like give what I've learned to everybody around me. Like there's nothing that I'm holding back and sharing. Any advice I could give, anything that I can share with someone, you get it. You know, like 90% of the people don't do anything with the information that they get. So if there's this small few that are going to take what you teach them and do something better than you, that's what it was all for. It's like your story you were telling me about testimonies. Like the testimonies, right, are there for you to tell. If you never told them, they would do nothing.
They're not doing any good for anybody.
They're not doing any good for anybody. They don't help the world. What we're learning and what we're sharing is what's helping the world go round. You know, the testimonies that happen to our life is what helps people believe that can also happen for them.
Right. Do you have any good like business testimonies?
Yeah, the way I even succeeded in my first year in real estate, I would say is always a really cool one. I was like really trying to figure it out. It was like my first or second year license, the first year. And I just did not know what to do. I was kind of like, God, you made me come to this industry. Like, what do I need to do, you know? And I was praying and journaling and praying and going to like 5 different churches to like get a word. I was just going through that season of my life like it was entering into the next chapter, but I was just so unclear that I wanted a word from God so bad that I was like, I'll take it anywhere. Let me go to 5 different churches in 1 week to see if I get a word. But then after like a couple months, I was at my church and my pastor was like, oh, do you want me to pray for you? Like, what is it that you want me to pray for you for? I was like, you know, just pray for my real estate business, like that I like make it and that I can do this long term and that this is for me and I'm on the right path. And so he prayed, and then he reminded me of a scripture, you know, the seek, knock, ask scripture, Matthew, right?
Yep.
It's like, if you seek, you shall find. If you ask, it shall be given. If you knock, the door shall open, right?
Right.
For those who seek, find. And, you know,
Yeah.
So he read that to me, he said it to me, and he's like, remember this, repeat it, and just believe, you know? And I was like, okay. And then I think that week I went to the store and I was looking for like a new journal to write in. And there was this big journal on the right in the shelf, and it said, seek, knock, ask. And it had like the little scripture on the bottom. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to journal in it every day. And then I remember just like fast forwarding a year later, because it took me a year to finish that journal. I remember like finishing it and then like opening it up and kind of going and looking back at everything that I asked, and where I was when I started and where I was when I ended the journal was like, I mean, I'm talking about a complete 180. Like it was so unrecognizable, like who I was in the beginning and who I was at the end, and everything that I prayed for came true. And I could look back at it because I wrote it down, you know? And I feel like that was just such a testimony for me, because at that point, it's like only a year later, I was like, I'm going to do this forever. Like, no, I'm good. Like, this is what God wants me to do. I'm going to do this for as long. I'm going to be successful because this is what I was called to do. It's not like I wanted to be a realtor, you know? Mm-hmm. I just remember kept like being like called by it. So whatever that looks like, whatever that journey is, a broker, you know, a team, whatever, I just know I'm always going to do real estate. It's going to open doors for me. It's going to help me grow as a woman. And then that's literally what it did. So that was like the first testimony ever where I could say like, I prayed for God and he gave it to me, but then he like reminded me a year later, like this, if when I give you something, like it'll always work out for your benefit, no matter how hard it is. It's like, I gave it to you, so I'm always going to back you up in it. So that's literally how I operate in my business. I'm like, I'm going to just, when people are like, oh, how's everything? I'm like, blessed, honestly.
Blessed
like,
and highly favored.
Yeah, I was like, God, I just thank God every day that I'm still doing real estate. Like, I'm just, that's a blessing and a answered prayer in itself. And then I'm trying to think like any other, I admire you with your testimony. I'm trying to pray more like you now. I don't know if you know this, but like I told you that earlier, that like when I hear you talk about your testimonies, I go back to God and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, or what am I not doing? Or like, what do I gotta do? And I'm like, all right, be descriptive. Like,
be specific.
Be specific.
Pray specific prayers.
Yeah, I do that
prayers.
now because of you.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I want a answered testimony. I want to steal someone's testimony. I want to be able to like share. I share your stories with people, you know, all the time. But I feel like I've seen God like just do things always just like in my life. And those are many testimonies, you know, but honestly, like, I just feel like sometimes I'm just living it every day. Like every day that I'm able to be independent, be able to provide, be able to work. But like that to me is like probably one of the biggest answered prayers I've ever had. What about you?
What about me? Testimonies? So many. I think my biggest, and I think I've talked about this probably on other episodes, like my most recent testimony in my business was probably hiring Evan, because I was literally sitting on my couch crying, being like, I'm so overwhelmed. I was crying and like talking to God, and I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so exhausted. I don't have help. I don't know what I need help with. There's just too many things on my plate for even for me to like get above it to the point where I can like bird's eye view, okay, this needs to be delegated and this. I was like, I'm too overwhelmed to even get there. I just need somebody who can just come in and I can just like give them random things. There's no job description. I don't know how to hire. I don't know how to do any of this. I just need help. And I wasn't even going to go to crew that day, and because I go to Saturday crew, fit crew. And but I was just like, you know, I just need a break from my own mental state. And so I went to crew. And, you know, we have like, it's fit crew. So we have like the boot camp and then the conversation about like the sermon of the week and whatever. And I'm sitting there talking to my girlfriend, Danielle, and she had brought a friend with her. And the friend was from Chicago and she had just moved to Miami and she didn't have a job. And I had told the Lord, I was like, God, I really want somebody from up north. Because
that good up north personality.
I just want somebody who understands the way that I think and the way that I operate. And I don't want to have to explain it to them. You know, I just need somebody who gets me. And so I was like, Lord, I need somebody from up north, maybe even from the Midwest. I feel like culturally I'm almost more Northeast than I am Midwest, even though I'm originally from Detroit. But like, I just need somebody who has the same culture as me. And I want my business to be multicultural, but I want my first assistant to just get me because I don't know what I'm doing, you know? And I literally go there and this girl, she's like, yeah, I need a job. I just moved here from Chicago. And the Holy Spirit goes, hire her. And I'm like, what? I'm like, so tell me about, you know, like, what was your last job? She's like, you know, I was in nursing and in healthcare. And I'm like, well, how would I hire her? I'm an accountant. She was a nurse. Like, where's the overlap? And so loud, I heard God say, hire her. She's the one. She's going to be it. She's going to help you. And I'm like, what in the literal? And I stop listening to what she's saying. And I'm just like talking to God in my own head.
Oh my gosh.
And she's talking to me. And I'm like, But I'm just like having a conversation in my head. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do now. Like, everyone I've hired has been like virtual.
Yeah.
So even people that like, my first assistant, she used to work for my mom and then she worked for me. But I was in Florida and she was in Michigan. So even though I knew her because she'd worked in my house the whole time I'd been growing up, I'd hired her virtually. You know what I mean? And because she'd worked for my mom and I learned everything from my mom, it was like
easy.
It was really easy. You know, she was a great first hire. But anyway, I said, this was like right before I was starting the podcast. I said, on Friday, I'm filming my first episode of my podcast and I need someone to help me with production. Are you available? I'll pay you for the day. And she was like, yeah, I'll be there. And so I'm like, okay, this will be like our run through. This will be our first,
so cool.
See what you can do, you know? And so my best friend had flown in from Texas for the first episode. And Evan came over and we could not figure out how to get both mics to record at the same time. We spent 3 hours trying to figure out the tech for this. Because I've never done a podcast before. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it's all been trial and error. People are like, how did you learn how to do a podcast? Trial and error, Google, YouTube, you know, everything's just been trial and error. And so I'm super frustrated. We've like lost half of our day. Lauren flew all the way here just for the weekend for this. So it's like, it had to be filmed that day. And then Evan's like, you know what? I can see that you're frustrated and you're probably hungry. Why don't you go eat something and I'll work on this while you're gone. And so Lauren and I like went off and like got a snack, whatever. And I come back and Evan's like, I figured it out. And she had literally figured out like what the tech, it was like a switch that had to be, but we could not figure out what button, like what the problem was.
That's so good. I love it. Figure out.
And she just figured it out. And I was like, you're hired. I don't have a job description. I don't know what I need you to help me with. You know, I'm going to put you under the umbrella of executive assistant until I figure out like what your actual role will be. But it was like, I came to the Lord so frustrated and so distraught. And I was just like, I need help and I don't know what I need help with. And I literally go to crew and he just drops somebody in my lap. And she's exactly what I asked him for. And it's just like, you know, he always shows up and he knows better about what we need than we do. Yeah. And it was just like the little things, even like I want somebody from up north.
I know.
Because I just want somebody who gets
it's
the way that I think.
It's crazy that we could be that descriptive.
And you can be so specific, you know?
Answer.
Yeah. And, you know, the funny thing is like, she's such a fast learner that I would literally just like throw stuff at her and see what sticks. You know what I mean? And I think for entrepreneurs who are like, I don't know how to hire. I don't know what I need. Like, hire an executive assistant, right? And then just start giving them things.
Yeah.
And you'll see what they're good at. and they'll excel, and you're like, great, I'll give them more of that. And then they'll be like, okay, this they didn't really excel in. I'm gonna take that back, put that on my plate, but I'm gonna put it on a side list. Okay, next hire, I need somebody who can do this. And now I know what my next hire needs to be because of what I've given to Evan. Some things stuck, some things didn't. Normal, not everybody's skilled at everything, right? And now I know, okay, all the things that didn't stick, that now I have the job description for my next hire. So it was like, just because, you know, now I know what she's good at, and now I know what else I need somebody else to be good at.
Yeah, that's the same thing with my assistant now. I actually had like a girl that just did graphics, and I needed so much help that I was like, can you help me? But she was horrible at like admin. She did not want to do admin. So then I was like, all right, then find me someone that can do admin. Like go on these sites and like put out a job ad and just I'll pay you to find me someone.
Yeah.
She did that. She put out ads. She interviewed. She knew me. And she was like, okay, I've narrowed it down to 2 girls that I think would work really great with your personality. I interviewed one. I worked with her for like a couple weeks. Didn't work out. Then she brought another one. I interviewed her. Oh my God. She's been with me now for 3 years, and she's like my lifesaver, my therapist, my confidant. Like she's virtual, but she's so amazing at what she does and like managing me that it's like been such a game changer. That's why I say like, and she just gets me. And there's things that she's good at, and then there's things that she's not. So I just don't give her the things that she's good at, and I delegate. For me, delegating is the number one thing. What can I give out?
Yes.
If I don't need to do it, I want to give it away.
Right.
I even delegate my business to a certain extent where I will share my business with my team to make sure that they're learning and we're splitting it and we're both learning together just to free me up a little extra time to bring on more clients.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So like delegation is like when
Key.
you get to that level where you're like, these are not money producing activities. These are not even, I'm not even good at this. Like,
and I hate doing it.
like get someone to do it.
Yeah.
Like that's when you're like reaching the next level. When is it time to hire an assistant? Like it's just, you can grow so much faster when you do. Ugh, so there's no right time.
Yeah.
You know, there's just like how fast you want to get there, like get some help to help you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think delegating is like one of the most important things that you learn as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You cannot scale if you cannot delegate.
Yeah. Plus you can't like grow your business. Like you're
working in the business instead of on the business.
Yeah, it's like if you're keeping everything up here for you to know and do, then you're never gonna like every time you have to do it yourself. Like everybody on the team should know how to do it. That way it's like when you can't, they can.
Right. That's such good advice. Making sure more than one person knows every job.
Exactly.
So that
they don't have to be great at all of it,
yeah.
But if one man is down, we've got someone that can like step in and fill those shoes.
Oh, that's such a nugget.
Yeah, like I'm already working on my hiring. I have multiple assistants now because they're all like good at their things. Their
niches, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just been very helpful because when you want to start a new business too, it's like, okay, I've got a team.
Yeah. And here's a new project. This is where we're doing.
Go ahead, let's get started on it. Do the research. It's like,
I love that. Sometimes Evan's like, so which business am I working on today? And I'm like, whichever one we feel like.
Yeah, whatever is like in demand right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's tax season, so.
Is it busy for you guys right now? Like.
Yeah. Why do you think I get up at 3 a.m. to work? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Until after tax season, like even for me to go to Dubai last month, like this has probably been the worst tax season I've had in like 5 years. From a stress standpoint.
You make it look so good though. You don't look stressed at all.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been the worst just from like a timing standpoint, from a workload standpoint. Like I need to like remember to be grateful because, you know, for the last 3 years I was dealing with autoimmune, so I couldn't have heavy tax seasons.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I wasn't taking on new business. I wasn't taking on new clients. So the fact that I was able to take on so much new business to have this really busy tax season and to be able to go to Cambodia, Turkey, Dubai, and Korea all during tax season, which I would have never planned myself. Like God told me go to Dubai and Turkey in February. I would have never planned a trip in February on my own during tax season. Like absolutely not. So, I mean, like I need to stay focused on the gratitude piece because like last year and even the year before I was in bed crying like, Lord, am I ever going to have my life back? You know, just like being on bed rest for months at a time, not being able to work. I had so much brain fog. I could only work 3 hours a day max.
That's crazy.
And I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until it lifted. And then I was like, oh, I can work a 12-hour day. I literally thought that like this might be my forever. Like I might never be able to go back to working these long days because my brain just can't function. And I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until it lifted, you know? And so now I'm like over here like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. I'm so tired. But to stay in that piece of gratitude, my mom always used to tell me, like when I was growing up, I'd be like, you're so busy. She's like, busy is job security when you're an entrepreneur. You know, like we're grateful for the busy. And just remembering to be grateful even in the stress, because the fact that like I've never marketed my business ever. It's all been organic, and just remembering that like it's favor, and you know that like the Lord just prospers when you give something to him. He prospers it. And the fact that I've never done lead generation, I've never had a CRM, I've never done marketing for my company, and for it to go to 6 figures on its own is just,
yeah, it's amazing.
It's crazy, you know? And so I'm like, okay, be grateful for the stress, you know?
Of course. Manage it properly.
Yeah, working on that.
You know, not doing it all. That's how you'll be able to be stress-free in your business.
Absolutely. So just like wrapping up, what would you say is like the one thing in terms of like advice for entrepreneurs that you would give them? Like, here's one thing you could implement today, or something like, if you're buying a house as an entrepreneur, here's something that you'll need because we don't know what we don't know.
So like if you're anything real estate related, whether you're buying or you're on the client side, or whether you're the realtor, want to become a realtor, get into the industry, knowing your financial health and where you stand is so important to, one, become a realtor, to get into that world, and then one, to be prepared to buy a property. So like it's never too early to work on that, and understanding like where your credit is, and building a savings, and really like learning how to manage money. I learned later in life, but I feel like I'm going to teach my kids to learn how to manage their credit and their money way younger, from birth. You know, I'm going to give them a card like the second that they're born. You can actually do that, you know, like an authorized user. Because like, you know, first of all, to be able to manage someone's finances and help them make the biggest financial decision of their life, which is buying a property, how can you really do that when you're a hot mess? Like, you know, really think about that. So I always say like knowing your financial health and where you are and being in control of that can set you up for everything. So like, even if you're becoming a realtor, like understand like, where am I at? Like, have I ever gotten pre-qualified? Like, do I know what debts and my credit score is at? So that's what I always encourage everybody to do and be on top of. And then, you know, not being afraid to just start things, like just going for it, and like getting the right mentorship, and just, if you want to get your license, just get it. If you never use it, fine. It's never going to hurt you, you know? But like taking risk and like understanding like purchasing your first property, maybe like working on that and making that a goal, like from a young age, and being able to like have that home ownership freedom and education, I think is like such a priority. And I'm seeing kids and younger people have a lot of success in like home ownership and real estate at such a young age now, because now knowledge is so available to us. And like people are going after these goals, and they're not being afraid to make mistakes. If there's a business you want to start the business.
Yeah.
You know,
start
like,
the business.
What are you waiting for? Right. And I do feel like when you have something that's like on your heart that doesn't go away, that's constantly like tugging at you, that might be something you need to pursue.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Whatever it is, whatever you feel called to do, like don't wait. Just get there. Because like if you're sleeping about it, you're going to bed at night, and you're still thinking about it, you wake up in the morning, you feel like it's what's driving you, like let's get to it. Because someone needs your service or your product. Someone's going to need what you have to offer the world.
Yeah. And I think like going back to what we were saying about testimonies and stuff, it's like if you want to have dreams, like my podcast came to me in a dream, and my keynote came to me in a dream, and so many pieces, my book came to me in a dream. So many pieces of my business came in dreams. And I'd literally wake up in the middle of the night, and I'd just get up, go get my computer, and start working on it, like immediately, because you forget your dreams. Yeah. And if you want to have meaningful dreams, you need to steward your dreams, right? Keep a dream journal, keep a notebook next to your bed. And if you want to have business dreams, just ask for them. Seek, ask, knock, right? Like so much of my life has been has happened because of things that happened in my dream, and I stewarded the dream by writing it down or by immediately taking action on the dream.
Yes.
Like literal like sleeping dreams. Immediately got up and started working on the podcast. Immediately got up and started writing the book. Like immediate action. Wow. And now God is like, oh, when I give her dreams, she acts on them. I can give her more.
That's the thing. All this knowledge and everything that we get, like, it's nothing if you're not acting on it.
Yeah.
You know, and that happens in life too. But that's great because, like, what God can trust you with, he multiplies.
Right.
So, like, if he can trust you managing money, he can multiply it. If he can trust you with your work ethic and how you serve people, you know, your business will multiply.
Yeah.
So
good.
Yay.
Oh, it's been so amazing having you. Why don't you tell people where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Bethany Martinez PA. And then basically Bethany Martinez PA is on all platforms. So it's like Instagram, Facebook, Google my business page.
We'll put all your deets in the description below.
This was fun. Thank
you. I'm so glad you came.
I'm so glad I came too. I'm so proud of you. I'm happy for you.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Well, thanks, guys, for joining us for another episode of the Entrepreneur Life Podcast. And we'll see you next time. And remember, today is a great day to start a business. Bye.